In table tennis, there is one very brief moment, yet sometimes it can decide the entire game. It is not the most powerful loop. It is not the most beautiful rally. It is the moment you pick up the ball and prepare to serve. Sounds simple, right? Just place the ball on your hand, toss it up, hit it over the net, and that is it. But in real competition, things are not that easy. A serve that looks completely normal can be called illegal by the umpire simply because your palm was not clearly open. The ball was not tossed high enough, the ball was hidden for a split second, or you struck the ball at the wrong moment. The scary thing is that many players, even those who have played table tennis for years, still make these mistakes without realizing it. You may be leading the score. You may be feeling confident. You may be just 1 point away from winning the set. But with just one small service fault, the score can change. Your mentality can shake, and the entire match can turn in a different direction. So what exactly makes a serve legal? Let's break down every detail carefully. But before we talk about side spin serves, backspin serves, fast serves, or deceptive serves that trick your opponent, we need to go back to the most basic rule. That is how you hold the ball before serving. It may sound like a tiny detail, but this is actually the first mistake many players make. According to the rules, the ball must rest freely on an open palm. You are not allowed to hold the ball in your hand. You are not allowed to grip it with your fingers. You should also avoid placing the ball vaguely on your fingertips, because if the umpire feels that the ball is not clearly presented, your serve can absolutely be considered illegal. The reason is simple. Your opponent must be able to see the ball from the very first moment. Table tennis is a sport of speed, spin, and feeling. Even a small moment of hiding the ball during the serve can create a huge advantage. That is why the rule requires everything to be clear from the start. Imagine the score is 10-10. Both players are under pressure. You pick up the ball and get ready to serve. If your hand is closed, or if the ball is hidden even slightly, the umpire may call a fault immediately. So remember this: open your palm, present the ball clearly, and let your opponent see it. If you have ever been called for a service fault because of the way you placed the ball, comment number 1 below and share your experience. After the ball has been placed correctly on your open palm, the next thing you need to pay attention to is the position of the ball before serving. This may look like a very small detail, but in competition, it is extremely important. According to the rules, before you toss the ball upward, the ball must be behind the end line of the table and must be above the playing surface. To put it simply, you are not allowed to bring the ball inside the table, and you are not allowed to hide the ball low under the table before suddenly tossing it up to serve. Why is the rule so strict? Because if the ball starts from an unclear position, your opponent will have a very hard time observing it. They will not know what type of serve you are preparing, which direction the ball will go, or what kind of spin is coming. Even that small advantage is enough to make the serve unfair. In table tennis, everything happens incredibly fast. Sometimes, if your opponent is just 1 beat late in reading the ball, they may already make a receive error. Sometimes, just because they cannot clearly see the starting point of the ball, they may lose confidence in the very next return. So a beautiful serve is not only about spin power or tactics. First of all, it must be clear, legal, and fair. Always keep the ball behind the end line and above the table surface, so that you, your opponent, and the umpire all know one thing: this serve is completely legal. Once the ball is in the correct position behind the end line and above the table surface, the next step is one of the most important parts of a legal serve: the toss. Many recreational players tend to underestimate this motion. They only lift the ball slightly and hit it right away. Some players even toss the ball while pulling their hand away, causing the ball to spin slightly before it touches the racket. At first glance, it may look normal, but under competition rules, that can absolutely be considered a service fault. According to the rules, the ball must be tossed almost vertically upward, without intentionally adding spin during the toss. Most importantly, The ball must rise at least 16 centimeters before you are allowed to strike it. 16 centimeters may not sound like much, but in a real match, when the pressure is high, when your hand starts to shake, or when you want to serve quickly to surprise your opponent, it is very easy to toss the ball lower than required. And with just one mistake like that, the umpire may give a warning or even call a fault if the violation is clear. A legal serve is not a rushed serve. It requires calmness. It requires clarity. It requires a toss high enough for your opponent to see, for the umpire to observe, and for you to have time to control your shot. If you want to learn table tennis properly and avoid small mistakes that can cost you painful points, subscribe to the channel and let's continue analyzing the key techniques used in real competition. And after the ball has been tossed high enough, there is one more detail that many players still misunderstand. That is the moment when you are allowed to strike the ball. You cannot hit the ball the instant it leaves your hand, and you cannot simply hit it whenever you want. According to the rules, after tossing the ball upward, you are only allowed to strike it when the ball is falling down. This means the ball must go up, reach its highest point, and then begin to descend. Only at that moment are you allowed to make contact with the ball using your racket. If you hit the ball while it is still rising, the serve is illegal. If you hit it right at the highest point, it is also not legal. It sounds simple, but once you are in a match, especially when the score is tight, many players unconsciously hit the ball too early. They want to serve faster, create more surprise, and prevent their opponent from getting ready. But in table tennis, being fast does not always mean being correct. A good serve needs rhythm. It needs control. It needs calmness in every small moment. You toss the ball up. You wait for it to fall. Then you strike it cleanly and precisely. By getting this small detail right, your serve will already look much more professional. If you found this part useful, please hit the like button, so I have more motivation to keep making detailed table tennis technique breakdowns for you. But a legal serve does not stop at simply tossing the ball high enough or striking it at the right moment. The final point, and also one of the most controversial details, is this: you are not allowed to hide the ball. From the moment the ball leaves your palm until your racket makes contact with it, your opponent must be able to see the ball clearly at all times. You are not allowed to use your arm, shoulder, head, body, or any other part to block the ball during the serve. Because in table tennis, if your opponent loses sight of the ball for even a very brief moment, they may fail to read the spin, misjudge the direction, and immediately fall into a passive position from the very first shot. After contact, the ball must first bounce on your side of the table before crossing over to your opponent's side. If the ball touches the net but still lands correctly, it is a let serve. You do not lose the point, and there is no limit to how many times a legal let serve can be replayed. In singles, you may serve to any position on your opponent's side of the table, but in doubles, the rule is stricter. The ball must be served diagonally from the right half of the server's court to the right half of the receiver's court. And finally, always remember that the umpire has the authority to decide whether a serve is legal or not. If the fault is minor, you may receive a warning. But if the violation is clear, your opponent can absolutely be awarded the point. So a good serve is not just a dangerous serve. First of all, it must be legal, clear, fair, and professional enough to keep you from losing painful points in the most important moments. Thank you for watching the video up to this point. If you found this content useful, please leave a comment. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with other table tennis players who may need to know this. See you again in the next videos.